Hi friends, welcome back to M.E. My Hook and I am in my new house. Yay! It's the first YouTube video in my new yarn room, and I'm super excited to be here. And I don't quite have all my stuff for filming, so we're kind of bouncing on a couple books and some other stuff. So I really want to give you a nice tour of my yarn room eventually, but we're not quite set up for that yet. And I have unpacked most of my yarn. I still have a little bit of my yarn left to go. And I'm going to pop up a picture of that here. Right now, I kind of have it organized where like all the cotton is by itself, and then all my worsted weight and all my DK weight solids, and then all my cakes. And anyway, I'm attempting some sort of organizational something, and I'm gonna put in a little insert here about how that is going as I'm unpacking. So I have a confession to make. Way back when my husband and I first got married, sorry if I'm holding the camera tilty, he had these wire crates that he used in his college dorm room to organize all his stuff. And when we got married, I sort of pitched a fit about how ugly they were and how I never wanted them in my house. And then periodically, every time we've moved, they have somehow made it with us. And the last move, I think, is the first move we didn't use them, but we still had them. And so when I got a yarn room and it's now time for me to unpack my yarn, I kind of had to eat my words and not only ask, do you know where those wire crates are? I also asked if I could have them. But in my defense, they will be in a closet. But thank you, Stephen, for keeping your ugly wire shelves for my yarn storage 12 years later. And who is being anal retentive and organizing her yarn by content and in rainbow color order? This kid. We'll see how long this lasts. So yeah, it started out kind of rainbow. And as you saw from the first picture I showed, yeah, it's going in there right now. Let me know, how do you organize your yarn? For now, I think those crates that I talked about are going to be my, semi long-term solution in the closet. And don't tell my husband yet, but I think I might buy more, because as you can see, it's kind of, there's not a good straight on picture of that because there's some kind of tucked back into the closet. And I would like to also have my fabric organized the same way. So I have been a sewer and a quilter for far longer than I have been a crocheter or a yarn person, although I love all crafts. There's my paper crafting stuff. So anyway, I would love to get back into that now that I have a room for it. We are currently perched, the camera is currently perched on my sewing desk, which is exciting because that was in the guest bedroom in our old house. And I never felt like, well, first off, part of the reason we moved home was for family to help us, because family was coming down like almost every other week to help and staying in the guest bedroom. So even if I felt like sewing, I didn't feel like I could leave my stuff out if I was mid-project. And here I can have a place where I can be as messy as I want to be and leave my sewing and quilting projects out for weeks if I don't ever feel like working on them. What I like about crochet most is being able to do it bedside. So even if I can't make it up here, this is actually on the second story, which you can probably tell by my neighbor's house. But y'all, I had to put this here to show you the view outside my window. Do you see all this? Yeah, that's a mountain ridge. It's just gorgeous here. I just love it. So in the event that I can't make it up here, I'm keeping the current projects that I'm working on downstairs and intend to have my whip cart down there still. So that if there's ever a period of time where I'm too sick to make it up here, it's not going to be that big of a deal. There was a time when I was so sick that we moved to a one-level house because I was like passing out and having to like lay down and couldn't finish getting to my room once I got up the stairs. So my health has improved, and I'll talk about that more at the end of the video because I know I do have some ME and other chronic illness people on this channel, but you may not want to hear about all that. So I'm going to move straight into my current whips. So I didn't have much video content, not only because we weren't in our house and it was just difficult to film in my in-laws. I just sort of lost my crojo, you know, like it was just so stressful and so kind of depressing not knowing what we would end up doing like housing wise for the next little while. That I didn't want to do anything. So I don't really have anything to show or any yarn counts for May, June, and July, but I really hope that I'll finish some of these for August. So the first thing that that helped me get my crojo back was, if you saw the last Crochet Society video I filmed, there was a big flamingo. That's how she goes. And I have let's see here. Get all my pieces here. I will say that I went down a hook size for a couple reasons. I believe that the box came with a 6.5 millimeter hook. Let me double check that if I were prepared. And that's what the yarn called for, just like in general, if you looked at the wrapper, but I always go down 1 to 2 sizes. And I saw in the Crochet Society Facebook group that's for subscribers that some people were running out of yarn. Yeah, it called for a 6 millimeter hook and I'm using a 5 millimeter hook. And first off, from what I saw from what they were posting, I like my amigurumi to look much tighter, a lot tighter, and I find I can do that with a bigger hook, but it's super hard on my hands, so it's a lot easier just to use a smaller hook. And I think he looks perfectly fine. And so I have all his parts done. There's a little wing, isn't it cute? And we've got 2 legs. I'm getting ready to sew the foot on. Oh, I guess I don't have all the parts done before I started the blanket. I had to finish this foot. But that got me super like into it. I was in my groove. It's amigurumi. It's what I do. And it made me excited again. So that was good. Plus I need to just knock out some of these Crochet Society boxes. So I started on that. And the other thing I did was I found a hooked on sunshine pattern that I just loved, that I had actually purchased. So I'm gonna link Hooked on Sunshine below. When they do a crochet along, their patterns are free, but when the crochet along is over, they cost, I think, like $5. It's not that big of a deal, but I always try to catch it, whether I'm making it right then or not, when it's free. And I had downloaded 4, which is F-O-R, and there's a cute story why it's called 4. You should go check it out. And I went into Joann's thinking I wanted to paint my number thing for my daughter and I to do. And there was a big yarn clearance on Basic Stitch, which is Line Brand, which I love, and some Big Twist. And I would have otherwise never picked up this color of Big Twist. But I'm going to try to insert a picture in here of my new bedding. And I had this vision that I wanted my bed to be pink and green and off-white. And I thought, oh, that color would be amazing in a blanket on my bed, like coordinating. Otherwise, it's kind of like just a dull reddish brown. But I also really liked the texture of this yarn. And it was on clearance. I think half off. I don't see the price on here, but they call this color beige. So I wondered if like it got mislabeled and that's why it was clearance, because there was not any more like this in this color, or, well, I think I got all 4 skeins that were available, but there wasn't anything else that was this kind of ply in any other color. So I wondered if maybe it was just not labeled right and that's why it went clearance. Because the other thing that made this really great for a blanket is there's 690 yards on it. So I have gotten to I'm currently working on part 3. And I'm already having trouble fitting it in the frame. I love a good hooked on sunshine blanket. I'm obsessed. I am obsessed with their texture. And I didn't notice until I got through it that this is kind of a cross, which is really awesome for our family in particular. And if I could make this again, I would want to figure out how to do that cross as the contrasting thread color and do all that as like a background, because of the way those front post, most of them are front post double crochets, I think. And then like do all that anyway. See, look at all that texture. It has been so fun. And of course she has video tutorial for this too. And that's partially the reason I'm able to do it. But I have learned so much through Hooked on Sunshine about the different kinds of stitches and how they interact with each other. It's really been the best way to sort of up my crochet game, because they just explain it really well. And her pictures and her patterns are amazing too, even if you didn't want to purchase the video tutorials, but I highly recommend it. So that's all I have for crochet content. I'm going to insert another exciting part about my day as of late that kind of has to do with crochet and it kind of has to do with my health. And when I come back from that, I'm going to explain to you why I think I'm doing better. So this is my new favorite way to spend my afternoon. If I can back down my driveway. So the new neighborhood is on a really steep hill and all right, I had to go in the back and get my phone. I should have known that was gonna happen. If my phone hadn't fallen over again, you would have seen that took me like 2 minutes. So I'm probably 1,500 feet or so from my neighborhood right now. And I am just thrilled to pick up my kid at school. It's like something I've never really done. And I quickly learned on last week, so this is the second week of school, and I quickly learned that it is a lot better. Like, I'm gonna have to sit in the line, you know, no matter what, for about 30 minutes. So I'd rather get here early and sit in the line and not move and be able to crochet than get here like right as school gets out and have to constantly be, you know, putting my car in and out of park and pulling forward 3 feet and having to look at what I'm doing versus just sitting here and crocheting. Anybody else crochet in the car line? I feel like it's such a basic mom thing to get to do, to pick up your kid, but like it's just not something I've been well enough to do, and I'm just giddy with it. I get the joy of picking up Sarah and taking her home and doing the whole afternoon routine of snack and homework and reading and then maybe playing over the neighbors. She's got a new best friend who's a grade younger than her, and they just love each other, and it's been such a good move. So I am, in case you're wondering, currently working on she gets a Chromebook this year. And apparently in Knox County, where we live, at this particular elementary school, all the kids got Chromebooks since first grade. So she's got a little bit of catching up to do, even though she did some work on the computer. But I'm making her a little cover because it comes home every day. of this yarn, and it's going to take, you know, however long it takes me to finish it in the carpool, because this is the first yarn project that I'm just like leaving in the car, because now I get into the car enough to actually have a crochet project to leave in here. It's like the little things in life are so stinking exciting. So anyway, this is Hobby Lobby. I love this yarn. It's super soft. Where's the color? Parcel and Bow is the color. Yay. Back to your regularly scheduled programming in just a moment. Okay, so the truth is I don't really know why I'm doing better. And if you're new to my channel, I have a post-viral illness from a bronchial infection that is very similar to a lot of what long COVID patients are experiencing. And the only thing I can say is that for the past year during the pandemic and the year before that, so somewhere mid 2019, I got a caregiver that started coming 4 days a week to my house, and they were doing literally everything for me or with me. They were helping me bathe. They were helping me like do some of my treatments that I needed another person for. They eventually were taking me to the infusion center to get me started on infusions to see if that therapy would work. And then they were accessing my port for me. And then they helped me with like all the household stuff that I couldn't keep track of. So like light housekeeping and laundry and helping to cook dinner and all that. I am happy to say that the post-exertional malaise that I experience with ME/CFS and the envelope with which that occurs has expanded. So lately, I've been able to get away with more, like taking Sarah to school, and it's just incredible. And I don't know how long it's gonna last. I'd say I've been on an upward swing since May, maybe. And that's not to say I don't have bad days in between. I certainly still have days where I crash, and days where I preemptively, aggressively rest, as we call it, aggressive rest therapy, to ensure that I don't crash. So I'm still very far from like being able to work, although I do hope now that I'm getting settled that I can dye more yarn and actually list the yarn that I've dyed on Etsy soon. I found it, and I found my shipping supplies, so we're like almost there. But now like I'm able to do the things for myself that I wasn't able to do, like bathe and take a shower, have the mental capacity to access my own port. It's not that difficult to stick a needle in here by myself. It's just sometimes it was very difficult for me to think through systematic processes of first open the sterile pack, then put the sterile thing down. That was very difficult. I've cooked dinner for my family like on a regular basis, which is pretty awesome. And of course, like the first thing I'm wanting to do is figure out how to work, because I always worked in, I don't know, so much of my self-worth for a long time was tied up in my work and my job, no matter what it was. But I have to remind myself that even though I've had so much of a health gain, like I'm so far from being a healthy person too. Like most people aren't celebrating that they didn't fall over after they cooked dinner for their family. And there are days where I cook, but I can't clean it up. Like I've lost all that energy. But I've never been so delighted to sit in a carpool line and crochet. And this house, everything we need is on the first level. So if I don't make it up to the yarn room, it is not a big deal. The master bedroom is down there. The laundry is down there. The kitchen is down there. And Sarah's bedroom is down there. So if I go downhill again, knock on wood, some people spontaneously go into remission. Maybe that's where I'm headed. Maybe this POTS is finally getting under control enough to where I can sort of manage it, and then my ME is therefore getting better. I really don't know. I really can't tell you. And I really can't tell how long it's going to last, but I'm riding that wave while it is here. And I'm enjoying it while it's here. I was even able to attend church on a couple Sundays before the Delta variant went nuts. And I've since stepped back from that because I did get vaccinated, but my doctors have long since thought that my natural killer cell function is low and I don't build antibodies that well. So we don't know how well the vaccine worked in the first place. And I'm in the process of trying to figure out when and if I should get the booster shot now that it's been approved for immunocompromised people. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna go ahead and get it just in case, but yeah, waiting on a professional doctor opinion for that. So anyway, I wish those of you who have some sort of post-viral illness or autoimmune illness or NECFS or POTS, I wish I could tell you, like, here's the plan for how to get better. And here's what I did. And if I can do it, you can do it too. But all I know is that when I first got sick and I went to a specialist for ME/CFS, they said, you typically improve after between 5 and 7 years after your initial onset. And I'm at about 6 years, coming up on 6 years in December, I think. Yeah, because it's about to be 2022. So I don't know, maybe it's just running its illness and I'm going to have a mild version from now. Maybe I'm going to come back in 2 weeks and tell you that I'm like back to being terrible. I don't know, but it has now been a long enough window since May that I feel comfortable saying that I'm better. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I'm so glad to be back. I hope to be back even more regularly now that we've got the yarn room starting to work out, and I will catch you guys soon. Please post all those yarn organization hacks in the comments because I would love to hear them. Bye.